And
let me move to this. I wanted to ask you, I saw 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I read it on your Twitter feed, and I was like, "Oh my God, they won't give this man Secret Service? Are you? That's outrageous to me. Is that still the case that you're not?"
I was surprised about that, but because I mean, I get death threats all the time. I get, my family history is it speaks for itself. I guess 3 weeks ago, I had a mentally ill person making the second story at my house. I had a speech that I was giving this week in South Carolina, almost shut down because of death threats. And so, clearly I should be getting it. In fact, there's never been, the media has lied about what the rules are. The media says, well, he's not entitled to Secret Service because you only get Secret Service 120 days out from the election. But what the law says is you get it 120 days out from the election automatically. And that law was passed after my father was assassinated, because originally they only gave it once you got the nomination. Now you get it everybody gets 120 days out if they pass certain metrics, like more than 15% of polling for 30 days. And then my uncle was given it. My uncle Teddy was given it by President Carter. I think 551 days out. And my uncle Teddy wasn't even running at that point. But Carter and he had this tremendous antipathy for each other, and Teddy ended up running against him. But Carter was a classy guy, and gave it to Teddy. Obama got it about, I think, 500 days out. John McCain was offered it 551 days out. Jesse Jackson got it. Shirley Chisholm got it. You go down a list, and it's 30 or 40 candidates have gotten it further out than me. And the White House, we gave them a 67-page document, including the threats and all of the documentation about why I deserved it. I'm the first presidential candidate in history that meets the metrics that requested Secret Service protection and was denied. The president has the ability to give anybody Secret Service protection. John Bolton has it. There are many people who work for Hunter Biden has it. People who work for the government, or people who have associations with the government who have long ago retired and continue to get it. And so, it's odd. It's an odd choice for President Biden to decide not to give it to me.
Yeah, very odd. Very, very odd. That may be a very nice, gentle way of putting it. So we all know what is going on here, but it's wanted. Right? We want it. This is what we want. Wanted for president. Can we find it? So got the new shirt here. That was from, and I want to give them credit for the guys because they do some great work. My Tactical Promos, and I believe that's where I got this shirt for almost nothing. All I did was purchase that poster right there, canceled my subscription, and they sent me this shirt. Didn't have to. That was very, very cool. But they do a monthly thing. They send a new t-shirt every month. Pretty cool. Had no idea that they were going to send me this shirt, but that was awesome. I'm not complaining at all. And if I receive a bill later on, I'll pay the bill because this is a really cool shirt. I really like this shirt. It's good. This is one of the best shirts I've seen about for this, right? So moving ahead, jumping along, because there is a lot to get into. Welcome, and welcome back here to this channel. This is my backup channel. As people may know, my original channel was shut down in 2021 because of President Donald J. Trump not because of him, but because of a replay that I did, a CPAC replay. And I'm sitting there watching this, and all of a sudden, my main channel is gone. It's nuked, right? After three strikes. And this was a strike, and they took it away. A strike, they took it away. Well, the same thing is happening with this channel now. So I don't know how much longer this channel will be here, but I'm going to utilize it as long as it's here. And we have backup channels. The video you just saw is from a backup channel. So let's talk about that before we get too far in. So hopefully everyone can see this. I'm just going to go back. I have a couple channels here that you will see. And you know the Greg Fernandez Jr. channel with the PDR, but we also have another backup Greg Fernandez channel. And then we have the Kennedy and Trump, and we have the Kennedy and Trump 2024. So plenty of content to keep us going, no matter what happens here. Because I think that Kennedy 2024 already has like 2 strikes on it. I've got 3 subscribers and 2 strikes, so we're in really good shape there. That's how it is. It's all good, and we'll just keep going on because the truth lives. The truth matters, and that's it, you know. And hey, like I've been saying, you know, vote for the candidate if you want to vote, and I hope everybody does vote, even if you cast your vote for nobody. Just throw in an empty blank ballot to let people know that you voted. You didn't like anybody. You didn't like anything they put on the ballot, but you went there and you voted. And I think that's what they are scared of. They're scared of people actually taking the time to vote because it makes it really, really hard for shenanigans, for interference. But what we're going to talk about here today is going to focus more so on this latest article that I have written that will be thrown right into my book because I'm working on a book, Kennedy and Trump. Obviously, I want to see the primaries through, so this is just kind of a work in progress for this book. But what I'm going to do here, I'd like to play another 1 or 2 clip, because what I really like to do with this show, and I'm just going to jump right back into this here. This is from the @Kennedy and Trump channel. See, we got 35 subscribers, so very happy about that. And I'm going to play just some, clips. We've got just a few different little clips here. And one of the clips that I want to play is from the great President Donald J. Trump. So let me go ahead and...
The top person from Mexico came in, just right under the president, who's a friend of mine. I mean, he's a great guy. He came in, and I said, "You're going to have to give us 28,000 shows." No, we will not do that. I said, "Yes, you will." And he said, No, we will not do that. I said, "Here's the story." It was a Friday evening. I said, "On Monday morning at 7:00 in the morning, you're going to be paying a tariff or tax of 25%. Of every car." They stole 32% of our car industry, just so you know. They send us millions of cars. Of every car and every product from Mexico into the United States, you're going to be paying a tariff. And here are the papers right here. I'm going to sign them now, but it goes into effect 7:00 on Monday morning. And he said, "May I make a phone call?" And I said, "You may." Came back in 5 minutes. "Sir, it would be our honor to put 28,000 soldiers on the border to protect you from some very bad people that are coming in." And Biden gave all that stuff up. He gave up Title 42. What Title 42 was so important to protect our country and to end the child trafficking crisis by returning all trafficked children to their families and their home countries immediately. And Jim Caviezel, who's a big actor, put it very well in the movie Sound of Freedom. God's children are not for sale. He said that. God's children are not for sale. Good movie. That was a good movie, by the way. And Jim is a wonderful guy. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. Our children are just being absolutely, I mean, they're being harassed, and they're not old enough to know what's right. And, you know, as the children, when they do these horrible things to them, and they turn 30 at 35, they look back and they say, who did this to me? Many of them, a big percentage, I think 68%. I saw some numbers, 68%. Who did this to me? Who did it? Without parental consent? Can you believe it? I will insist on the right of every parent to send their child to the public, private, charter, or religious school of their choice. Choice, choice, choice.
Very cool. So I really liked that, obviously.
President Trump,
Why I
welcome.
played it. This is a great interview too. I'm not going to play this right now, but this was another great interview with President Trump.
The
And
top
we'll
person from
definitely
Mexico came.
probably come back to some of those clips later on. But you know, it's really crazy with YouTube because you got to be careful nowadays with what you do with what you play. There used to be, you know, a lot you couldn't even talk about voter fraud and anything. Any speech with Trump talking about voter fraud, which is what got my original channel banned or new, just gone from YouTube. It seems like it's loosening up maybe a little bit, and maybe that has to do with another thing that I want to talk about here, which is the fact that RFK Jr. is suing Google. Let me see if I can find just that short little clip here where he mentions it, where he talks.
I've spoken out.
So I'll talk. Let's see if I can jump to this briefly here. This clip is about 1 minute long, and this does cover this case. This is a very important case. This is a clip from RFK Jr.'s interview with Fearless with Jason Whitlock. Lots of great little clips on this one.
I've spoken elsewhere about the weaponization of some of the federal agencies, of the enforcement agencies, which I think we've seen, you know, in many contexts, including deployed against me. You know, Judge Doty's decision is a 155-page decision in Missouri versus Biden. I'm part of that case. I filed a case called Kennedy versus Biden. And that has now been consolidated with the case that was brought by the two attorney generals from Missouri and Louisiana. And that's an extraordinary federal judge decision where he ordered the White House to have no more further contact with any of the social media sites, and then he outlines what happened. And the reason I'm part of that is I was the first person who was censored by the Biden administration 37 hours after President Biden took the oath of office. White House officials were in contact with top-level White House officials with Twitter and Facebook, asking them to take down my accounts. And they were, you know, none of the information that I was putting on those accounts was false. And they acknowledged that.
They acknowledged it, exactly. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But,
I've spoken elsewhere.
So that's just a little tiny taste here of just, you know, what is happening with this lawsuit. And then there's I think he's suing Google too. So he's got some, I mean, you got the right guy here. If President Trump wanted to hire somebody to help with these lawsuits, this is the guy to hire, RFK Jr. The best option for the vice president is RFK Jr. Now, he's already come out and said that he's no interest, not going to happen. It's a conspiracy theory. I get it. But he's also come out and said some other things, looking at alternatives, depending on what the DNC does. I want to cover that in a future show, because that is going to be a big part of the third-party option chapter of my book, where you're going to see at first Kennedy is not really interested in being a third-party candidate, has no interest in it. lately, that is changing. He is saying, well, if the DNC is going to rig this thing where, they're going to make it so difficult for anybody else but Biden, then they're going to have a big problem. And he has said, RFK Jr. has said, he's going to have to look at alternatives. And what is the alternative? We know what that is. So you never know. You never know what is going to happen. I mean, this is between now and next year, March, May, once the primaries start happening and the delegates vote and everything, we're really going to see, because Kennedy does have the alternative, right? And maybe that's something that Bernie Sanders necessarily didn't have. And Bernie Sanders, you've seen the photos of him just standing there as Hillary Clinton. She's the candidate, she's the nominee. And a lot of the Democrat voters thought that it should have been Bernie Sanders and not Hillary Clinton. And some people think that part of the reason why Donald Trump won was because of the backlash between the Democratic Party, the civil war happening between the Democratic Party. Well, this is going to be an even bigger civil war because you got a Kennedy here. So it's not like you're trying to get rid of a socialist, a Marxist, a communist like Bernie Sanders. Now you're trying to get rid of somebody who has been a part of the Democratic Party and somebody who has seen the best and the worst of this country, and somebody who is a lawyer, somebody who has actually litigated against the government, against Trump. I mean, that's another fascinating thing that is going to come out, is that RFK Jr. has actually litigated and won against Trump. So he's already beat Trump in the, in the business world, and in some of these, there's some fascinating stuff out there. So this is all going to be, it's all good stuff for the book, definitely, but the book is not very important. This is about what is best for this country, what is best for this nation right now. And I believe that is what people are focusing on. We got to focus on that. I still think what's best for this country is to have, RFK Jr. versus Donald J. Trump. And we'll see what happens. We'll see where everything goes. But it's going to get crazy. It's been crazy, and it's going to get a lot crazier here. So just stand by. Stay tuned. So what I want to do now is I want to get to the main topic that I wanted to cover after seeing that, because the host was talking about, hey, why isn't RFK Jr. getting Secret Service protection? So let's cover that right now. So this is an article that I wrote on my website, whatistruth911.wordpress.com. RFK Jr. assassination attempt, with a question mark, because I don't really know. This is just a strange thing that happened on RFK Jr.'s way to the White House. This is very strange. On September 15, 2023, a strange thing happened at the Wilshire Ebel Theater in Los Angeles, California. Presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. hosted a Hispanic Heritage fundraiser event featuring several musical artists. Kennedy also spoke for over an hour at the event and answered some questions as well. That's a great segment there too. But before the event began, 44-year-old Adrian Paul Aspero walked up to a side door at the event demanding to see Mr. Kennedy immediately. Aspero claimed he was part of Kennedy's security detail, but around his neck, he wore a lanyard with a U.S. Marshal badge. He had a belt clip federal ID on his right hip, some other type of ID visible on his upper left leg, and a black EMT long sleeve shirt. So look at all these identifications that he has. This is what I want people to know when they're watching this. All of the different identifications for one person walking up acting like he was hired to be part of Kennedy's security detail. It's very, very odd. I mean, it doesn't get much stranger than what we're going to see here, what we're going to read. I'm going to play this video. This video is from Team Kennedy. I believe it's Team Kennedy on TikTok, of all places. So let me see. I'm gonna go. Oh, YouTube is blocked. Wow, they refuse to share the content. Oh, interesting. Wasn't. Let me see. YouTube refused to connect. Huh. I have to figure out what's going on with that. Okay. Let me see. Can I maximize this? And I will play this. This is about 1 minute of this guy getting arrested. So you can see all the different things. Look at this. 4 different things on this one person. He's got this federal badge here. I don't know if the okay, there it is. Yeah. So he's got the federal badge there. He's got some other badge here on his other. I thought it was on his leg, but it's actually on his t-shirt. So he's got something there on his t-shirt. He's got the U.S. Marshal lanyard right here. And his t-shirt, or his long sleeve t-shirt, is an EMT shirt. Those are 4 different identifications. Maybe, I mean, 4 different things that he's got on here. And then he tries to say that he's part of Kennedy's security detail. What we're going to ask for next is the police reports, and if we can get any of the body cam footage. Very important to see here, because we need to figure out what is going on here. Because to me, this does look like another trap, especially when they really try to tie this guy to Donald Trump, which I kind of thought was going to happen. And it did. He's got two shoulder holsters, right? A double shoulder holster, I guess. And with a gun on each side, and looks like maybe even a magazine or 2. So he may just have one gun on one side of the holster and 2 magazines on the other side. It's kind of what it looks like here based on this photo. So quickly the police show up, but I'm just going to play this 1 minute. I know the audio is really, really loud because there are things that the police are saying to him. It's really hard to hear. Very hard to hear. So it's hard to hear there, but he says something about the bag or about this, and the officer who is off camera to the right side of this says, well, we're going to figure this out and, figure this out. But whoever is filming this is being filmed obviously by somebody from Team Kennedy 2024. So, or by by the security detail, which we'll get into a little bit later. I don't want to talk too much about the security detail. So now they pick up the backpack.
Officer, we have a bomb dog. You want to just take a look at that bag really quick before you guys get into it?
So right there, the person who was filming this asked the officer if they have a dog who can sniff out bombs. They want to make sure this guy doesn't have a bomb. And it's this is a couple intense minute or so, and they've got to have more footage than this, is my guess.
Yeah, okay, well, wait.
So they're going through his pockets, they're checking that out, they're checking everything. You can see what this guy is wearing. It's just very strange.
Hey, Will, find out how long until Doug. Yeah.
So it kind of looked like the officers were asking this guy to kind of back up right there at that point while they go through this and kind of figure out who this guy is. And it's just so strange to me. And then it cuts off. It cuts off right there. And that's it. It's done. So I'll keep reading on. Police dispatch described the man as having tattoos on his arms, neck, and hands, wearing an EMT shirt, holding a U.S. Marshal badge. He has a gun on his shoulder holster. Officers responded to the scene shortly after receiving the call around 4:30 p.m. California time. He identified himself as a member of my security detail, RFK Jr. tweeted after the event. The suspicious man was, quote, spotted and detained, end quote, by, quote, alert and fast-acting protectors from Gavin DeBecker and Associates, GDBA, security according to Kennedy. And this is one of the things that when I was talking with Christian on the previous show on a different channel, because I wasn't allowed to go live here, but what we were talking about, and I was saying, this just seems weird. It seems like this whole thing was trying to test RFK's security to better understand who RFK Jr.'s security force was. And it was more like a fishing thing. Like they were just fishing for information, doing people in the intelligence community can articulate this better than I ever could, but they were just gathering intelligence, kind of just seeing, throwing out little poke here, a little poke there to see how would RFK's security team respond? Who are they? Because up until this point, we didn't know who they publicly were. And then RFK Jr. tweeted about who they were. So I don't know if I don't know. The whole thing is just very, very strange to me. It's strange how it came and how it went. And but I'll keep going on, just reading a little bit more here. LAPD quickly arrested Aspero in a short video posted on TikTok by the Kennedy campaign. The suspect can be seen handcuffed and being searched by police. Aspero appears to tell one of the officers that his brother, Raymond, is with him nearby, pointing his head towards the sidewalk. We're going to figure this out, make sure everything is okay, the officer tells him. That's all this is. Aspero and the officer exchange calm words, but it's hard to make out what else is said in the short clip. Really is hard to say, hard to make out what they're talking about. And this is why we need the body cam footage, and this is why we need the police reports. And hopefully I'll be able to get that for us. According to the Kennedy campaign team, there was a second man later identified as Adrian's brother, Raymond, who was also detained by police but never officially arrested. According to what he told the Daily Beast, Raymond drove his brother to the event. Adrian stated he had received a call for a single-day security job. Quote, he told me he was in communication with someone about a gig, Raymond said to the Daily Beast, like a private contract gig, a one-time deal, and he had to go that day to work it. I don't know who he talked to or what. I just get whatever vague information he gives me. Raymond believed his brother either, quote, got wrong information or trusted someone he shouldn't have, end quote. This is a very powerful thing. Who is the person that called Adrian to show up here and act like he was part of the security, like he was hired for the security detail? It just gets more, the more I learn about this one, it just gets more and more strange. But Raymond seems, like he's got the best information here, and thanks to the Daily Beast, and I think also the Washington Post, they both were able to talk to this guy's brother and get some valid information early on. Raymond also stated his brother is an unemployed EMT. He lives with his parents. He doesn't have a car. He is a loner, a Trump supporter who spends hours online watching videos about aliens and has never taken the COVID-19 vaccine. According to the Daily Beast article, Raymond was detained and his vehicle was searched, but he was never arrested. A Washington Post article by Sarah Ellison. In a Washington Post article by Sarah Ellison, police arrested Adrian Aspero, quote, and took both men to the station for questioning. just for questioning, not arresting. So detained, questioned, but Raymond was not arrested, but this other guy was. But Adrian was. Adrian is the guy in that video there. Adrian Paul Aspero was searched, arrested, booked on felony gun charges. His bail is set at $35,000. Seems kind of low. I hope he will also be charged with impersonating a United States federal marshal and impersonating a member of a presidential candidate's security team. I don't know about the second one, but I really do hope, this seems, maybe that's a stretch there, but he is definitely impersonating a United States federal marshal. So the charges should at some point include that. Right now, it just seems like he was booked on felony gun charges. And maybe that's just because that was the easiest. Maybe he never said, hey, I'm a United States federal marshal. So if he didn't identify himself as a United States federal marshal, maybe that's why he's not being charged with that at this time. But we'll see. In his tweet, Kennedy expressed gratitude for Gavin DeBecker and associates in the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm still entertaining a hope that President Biden will allow me Secret Service protection, wrote Kennedy. I am the first presidential candidate in history to whom the White House has denied a request for protection. And then we'll go to the full speech, which I will do. And then there's some other, two other things that you can watch if you haven't seen the playlist. That playlist is also there. So next I am going to just play a little bit of the early news reports. I think they're very important to play. And then I'll come back. And that's really all that I wanted to talk about here. So I do want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this. And I'm going to play just some of the early news reports. That's all that I know for right now. But I did contact the police and to try to see, what's the best way to go about getting the information and how to, there has to be some type of form that I would fill out to see if I could get not only the police reports, but the body cam footage. The police reports would probably be a little easier to get. Maybe California's kind of weird about this stuff, but hopefully we can get the police reports, the full police reports, and hopefully we can get the body cam footage. And if we can't, then hopefully someone with a lot more clout or somebody with a lot more knowledge can get those, because those things are going to matter, because we need to find out who this guy is, not only who he is, but who sent him there. Why did he think that he had a job there, a one-day job? Who was he in communication with to get this one-day job? Very, very strange stuff here. It does seem like Adrian may have been set up to go there to just, like I said, test these waters and see how would Kennedy's security team react. Somebody is testing those waters for some future issues. And when you watch what Kennedy was saying when I first started this show, you can see he's already had death threats. He's already had somebody come into his home and make it to the second floor of his home. And now we have another guy showing up at the event in California. So at least two people in California that have, tried to cause physical harm to him. So, but he has obviously a good security team, and that is what the Secret Service said. And I think that's what the feds are. Oh, everything worked out, so everything is okay, right? Because nothing happened. But there's also been some questions. Well, do you really want is the Secret Service the best people to protect you? Or would you rather have some private security? Now, obviously, getting the Secret Service is another expense that we know how much the government is in debt, so they can't really afford that, but they can't afford to give money to the Ukraine or to all these other places, but they do. So where would you rather have that money go to? I don't know. It's an open-ended question. But after that, the Kennedy team also tried to go back and say, hey, we really want to request this Secret Service protection. So I'm going to go back and play some of those early clips. Let me jump to that. And then we are just about done. I'll come back at the very end. And again, I want to thank everybody. Thank you all for caring about this case. It's a very important case. I believe it's just a very important topic. And we'll see where all of this goes from here. I'll just play a few minutes of this. See, there won't be any sound here during this is one of the first early clips that I found, and somebody just took it and they zoomed in. So you can see all of the different badges that this guy has. And again, he's got one badge here. He's got some other badge there. He's got the federal. I mean, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense to me. He's got like maybe another phone here. I don't know what this rope is here, if that's like a tie wrap or something, but he's all camoed out. He's got the combat boots, the dark sunglasses, the tattoos, the magazines here. That's what it looks like. That he's got magazines on this side, and the gun on the other side, all right there. So it's a felony gun charge, which is interesting because we need to look up more about what that actually means. Very, very strange stuff. And so he's just searching him. You got the two cops. I don't know. I can't tell.
Now to developing news.
It does actually look like one of the cops. You can see here, like he's got the body cam. So we should be able to get that body cam footage. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm just going to play now that the audio is coming back in. Play a few minutes of this. Be right back.
Now to developing news. We're learning more about the armed man accused of impersonating a member of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s security team. LAPD arrested 44-year-old Adrian Paul Iceborough. And according to Kennedy's team, police also detained a second man who came to the event with Iceborough. Team Kennedy released this video of a man detained by LAPD. He's wearing a badge on his hip, another around his neck, 2 shoulder holsters, and a shirt that reads Medical Emergency Services. Adrian Paul Iceborough allegedly appeared at a side entrance to the Wilshire Ebell Theater Friday night. According to Robert Kennedy Jr.'s campaign team, Iceborough claimed to be a U.S. Marshal and wanted to be taken to the candidate. The real security team noticed the man carried a handgun and called LAPD.
We have a bomb dog. You want to take a look at that bag really quick before you guys get into it?
So I just want to say, if he identified himself as a U.S. Marshal, that is a big, big problem, and he should be charged with that.
Backpack had another handgun, multiple knives, and extra ammunition. The team also says LAPD detained a second man who accompanied the prime suspect, but LAPD did not confirm that with Fox 11 News.
So the second man was his brother, and so they searched the brother's car and everything. For some reason, on the brother, they found another gun. Now, in this video that you're about to see from back in July, you'll see that Adrian pretty much had almost the same type of style. You know, the pants are a little different color, but on his leg, he had a gun strapped around his leg. So I'm wondering, is the gun strapped around his leg in the video that you're about to see? Is that the one that Adrian had his brother hold? It's very strange stuff.
I'm putting this planet on lockdown.
Back in July, Iceborough posted this video on TikTok. He seemed to be dressed similar to what he wore Friday, but here with a gun strapped to his leg. The post,
a different badge there that he has, but again, yeah, it's just very strange. I don't know.
Suggested Iceborough had revolution on his mind.
I need to speak to the Hells Angels. I need to speak to the Mongols.
Back to the revolution thing, and then, you know, that all kind of ties in where they want to get on Donald Trump for the J6 stuff. So I don't know. Very strange.
He finished the video with this sentiment.
If I don't make it back, call the president, your commander in chief, Donald J. Trump.
LAPD
It's so. Why would you say that? Why would you do this? Very, very strange. But they want to get that Donald J. Trump thing in there. This is something the feds would do. I don't know. That's just mine.
arrested Iceboro for carrying a concealed weapon. Bail set at $35,000.
See, they arrested him for carrying a concealed weapon, but the weapon is not concealed here. This weapon is not concealed, right? The one in the bag, maybe, but I think in this bag there's just ammo, but it's not a concealed weapon. Why aren't they arresting him for impersonating a federal officer, a federal agent? Very strange stuff. So we'll see. We're going to follow up on it. We're going to stay on this one because I don't think the media will.
How do you rebuild the American middle class? And
The arrest didn't keep RFK Jr. from speaking at the event in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month.
all of our concentration is toward the one thing that we export really well, war and weapons.
Well, this incident redoubles the Kennedy campaign's effort to get their candidate Secret Service protection. The Wilshire Ebell Theater is about 2 miles from the location that was the Ambassador Hotel. Kennedy's father was assassinated at the Ambassador in 1968.
Now that's crazy because it was so close to it. Just
Look at the Wilshire Ebell Theater in Los Angeles, where Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is currently holding a campaign event focused on Hispanic heritage. As you can see, the event featuring a series of performances. Looks like one is just about to begin there. This week on The Issue Is, I sit down with Kennedy at his home. He weighs in on a variety of issues.
so that's a good one. Okay, so I'm gonna end it right there. I think that is a great place to stop this here. I'm just gonna say, never surrender. Look at your map. Captain Kirk, love, and of course, wanted for president. That's good stuff. God bless you all. I'm glad to be back on this channel. And until next time, there will be a next time. We will be back here. And if not here, we'll be on some of the other channels. God bless you all. Thank you all so much for watching this and taking this time. I do really appreciate it. And I look forward to this because all a precursor to my book. Everything you're watching here, if you don't read the book and you watch this, you've already read the book. God bless you all. Until next time, my friends.